So today I'm back and I want to talk to you about STAR reports and accelerated reader and how we're giving our students an opportunity to read even though right now our school library is closed. So I'm going to start first of all with this particular report. And this report should be coming home soon. Either you've already seen it or it will be coming home soon for second grade through sixth grade. Possibly for some first graders if they read high enough for the STAR test to actually calculate their score. A lot of times first graders do not have a good accurate reading until about mid-year. But this report helps us know about where your child is reading. And I want to point out a few interesting things on this report. First of all, this is a sample report for Jane Smith. Your report will come customized for your child. It will have your child's scores and some information about your child in particular. So if you'll look with me at this one, you're going to see first of all, this will have a score at the top. This particular sample student, it shows here, was in the 48th percentile rank. And you can see that's kind of right in the middle of this particular grade level. So one thing to look for if you get this, or when you get this, if your child is over in this area, they're probably reading above grade level right now. And if your child was over in this area, they're probably reading below grade level right now. Just something to notice. And of course, watch this year because as you get new reports, you're going to want to see how your child is improving this year. Secondly, you're going to see a scale score. The scale score is just going to give us a number between 0 and 1400 as far as based on the difficulty of the questions and the number of correct responses your child gets. Something interesting about the STAR test, as your child goes through reading various passages and answering questions, if they miss a few in a row, then it changes course a bit and takes them for an easier course if they're struggling, so that we can accurately see where they are reading at without having too much difficulty. And if they're doing very well, it's going to bump up their questions, and their questions will get harder as they go along. So it's a very accurate measurement for just how well your child can read and comprehend. Second number that we see there is the percentile rank, and this just tells you how your child places among students at that same grade level. So at the 48th percentile rank, that's just saying that Jane's skills are higher than 48% of the students nationally in that same grade. We're not talking about just here at our school or in our district, but nationally. So it gives you a good indicator of where your child is reading. Next, probably one of the most important, or I think most valuable scores for us, this one is the grade equivalent score. This one is going to give us a more identifiable number. You can see here this is a 3.3, and what this means is third grade, third month. So if a child at the beginning of the school year, the beginning of third grade year, is reading at 3.3, they're just slightly maybe ahead of grade level, because typically the first month is third grade 3.1, first month. So your number there, if it's 4.6, would be fourth grade, sixth month, and that'll give you an idea of how well your child's reading. Now, the independent reading level or instructional reading level, this is a number that's going to tell us just how well your child can actually proficiently read and comprehend reading materials. So what can they read at and still fully understand everything they are reading and be successful at? And that's their instructional level. The last thing that we're going to draw attention to, and this is another biggie, this is called the Zone of Proximal Development, the ZPD for short. And many teachers refer to this as a child's reading range. Now, I want to point out that we're not saying that a child can only read between these two numbers. Certainly, there are times that they've been reading a series, and perhaps one book in the series goes a little lower or a little higher, and we make exceptions for that. But for the most part, if we want to see your child experience the most growth as a reader, we want to see them reading between those two levels. If we want to challenge our children, as a parent, if you say, well, I'm not really satisfied with these results and I'd like to see my child reading better, then you definitely want to aim for that higher number. Aim for a 3.9. Have your child read more books in the 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, 3.9 range. And of course, as long as a child can still read at, if they can read a book at 4.1 and still make a 100% on their test, then obviously that's, it could be a matter of interest. It's a story that's interesting to them. And so, again, teachers will make exceptions for certain books if it's something that a child truly wants to read. But ideally, we want to see students reading between these two numbers because that's going to be the area where we see the most growth. Now, the next thing I want to show you the EPIC website. As I mentioned before, we don't have a library, or we don't have the ability right now for students to check out books from our school library, but we do have, our classes are signed up for EPIC, and students can log into EPIC and they can actually read books there on the website during school hours and take AR tests on them. So, we're going to switch from this paper and go to the EPIC website. Okay, so this is the screen that you will get once your teacher gives your child the login information. It will come up to this, and you will have a student log in. Your child will have a class code. It'll be a combination of letters and numbers. You'll enter those in this box. Into EPIC, this is the actual website you'll see. I think one of the easiest ways to search for a book that's compatible with the AR testing system is to go to this icon that you see that's labeled AR. Of course, the kids can read any of the books on this site, but if we click on AR, it will actually take us to groupings of books. Now, based on your child's reading level, which we discussed earlier, and the reading range, you can choose books in various ranges. So here we can choose books 3 to 3.9. Now, not all of our ranges are divided 3.0 to 3.9. As I said earlier, some may be 2.8 to 3.7. But this is a good way to find those books in that range. You'll notice this one is already set for 3.0 to 3.9, but we can easily change it to 4.0 to 4.9 if your child needs that particular level. So I'm going to take it back. Let's say my child is reading from a 2.8 to a 3.7. And I do want to try to challenge them a bit more so they can grow as a reader. I would probably pick something in that range closer to the 3.7, somewhere in the middle to the upper part of the range. So maybe scroll past the 3.0s and 3.1s. A 3.2 book or a 3.3 book might be a good one. Now, all of these do have AR test. There are a few that, like this one here that says EPIC at the top, some of these do not have tests, and I'm not sure why they're linked in with AR. It could be that they're getting ready to make some tests for those, but they are not there right now. However, you can just scroll through, and when you get to a particular level, like this one, 3.3, you can actually just scroll across. You can come over here, press the arrow, and it will take you to more books, and you can continue pressing that and seeing more books. Now, all of these that they are showing, these are all 3.3. You can see there on the screen because the number's right there. And these all have AR tests. So that's one way that you can read at home. If you have a limited library at home, and hopefully it won't be long before we'll be checking out books here at school again as well. But right now, Epic is a great site to go to. Um, your teacher should have already signed up for this, but if not, then please let them know that you're interested and they can give you that login information. It is only available right now during school hours. This is a paid for site where if parents want to pay, they can do this in the evening and have unlimited access. But as a school, we do have limited access and it's only during the school day. So make sure if your child's wanting to read or take an AR test, of course they could take the AR test at a different time, but if they're wanting to read a book, they need to do it during school hours so that they can take advantage of this site.